Hello, my name is Stephanie from Makewebvideo.com. Today, I'll be advising you on renting or buying property for businesses in the UK. Finding the right premises on the right terms is an important step for many new businesses. There are lots of decisions to make, and it's important to understand what's involved. We're going to look at the main options for taking on business premises. We will then explore what's involved when you rent premises, and find out what you need to do if you decide to buy. If you need premises for your new business, you'll have to weigh up the pros and cons of renting and buying to help make a decision. Let's look at renting first. This can be a flexible way of acquiring premises, particularly for new businesses. It ties up less capital and you won't be locked into owning a property. How long do you have to sign up for if you rent? Lease agreements normally run for several years, at least 3 and often up to 25. It depends on what you agree with the landlord. They often include a break clause that can let you get out early if you want to, and you may be allowed to sublet. If you don't want to be tied into a long-term commitment, you could look into license agreements. These are normally much shorter, up to a year is common. They do give you more flexibility, but less stability. What about the practicalities of renting premises? You'll have to sign a lease, and you may need to register it with the land registry. Other things to think about include planning consent, the change of use, and buildings insurance. Check who's responsible for insuring the premises. Do you think you might want to make alterations to the building? You may also be allowed to, but do check first. Also, check whether you have to put things back the way they were before you move out. What about costs? You'll agree the rent charge with your landlord, but there are other things to take into account too. There will probably be a regular service charge, and you may need to come up with a deposit or a premium. There may also be stamp duty and land tax to pay on commercial leases too. You'll probably need a legal representative to handle the paperwork. You could also be responsible for some or all of the cost of maintaining the building. Your lease will say who does what. Of course, there are business rates and utility bills to pay, plus any costs for fitting out or furnishing the premises. Will the rent charges ever change? Lease agreements often include rent reviews every few years. Rent increases are sometimes fixed in advance, or they could be linked to inflation. Sometimes they are negotiable. What about other responsibilities you'll probably have as a commercial tenant? You will be responsible for health and safety at your premises. Things to be aware of include workplace safety requirements, gas safety and fire. You'll also have some responsibilities for electrical safety. How do you go about finding premises to rent? Commercial property agents are a good source and can be found on Makewebvideo.com. Here, you can search a wide range of local properties, national and international. This will save you time and money. You could also ask your local councils for business support units. We looked at renting premises and seeing what's normally involved. We talked about costs, commitments and responsibilities, and looked at how these can vary depending on the terms of your agreement. Now, let's move on to buying. Buying premises isn't always an option for any business. You'll need capital and probably a mortgage. For some businesses though, buying works well. If you buy your own premises, you'll often have more freedom over how you use the building, and you'll have an asset that might increase in value. As with rented premises, commercial property agents are often the best place to start when you're looking to buy. Internet search engines like ours and local papers could also help you find the right property. Buying property is usually a long-term commitment, so try to think about how your needs might change in the future. Will there be enough space for your business in 2, 5 or even 10 years' time? What costs do you need to budget for when you buy? There are legal fees, stamp duty, land tax, and of course the cost of things like searches. You'll usually need a deposit, probably at least 15% for a commercial mortgage, depending on your circumstances. There may be VAT on the purchase price, although you can claim this back if you're VAT registered. Remember to budget for any alterations you want to make, as well as fitting out and furnishing the property. You will be required to meet your mortgage repayments each month and pay business rates. There may also be a monthly service charge if it's a shared building. Don't forget running costs like maintenance, utilities, and insurance. Once you've found somewhere that matches your requirements, it's time to make an offer. Don't be afraid to offer significantly lower than the asking price, and then you can negotiate a price that you think the property is worth. Make it clear that your offer depends on checks, like surveys, and on your ability to raise the money. You'll probably need professional advice at this point, a surveyor to check the building, and a solicitor to deal with the legal paperwork. When everyone's happy, you'll exchange contracts with the seller, and the purchase will become legally binding. You've now looked at two options for getting business premises. We've seen how renting can work well for new businesses that need flexibility, whilst buying can be a good option if you're happy to make a long-term commitment, and of course, you can raise the money. Hopefully it's helped you make some of these important decisions about your premises. May I wish you good luck from My-Business.com for finding your next business or property.